Professor, if someone was to ask the one thing you would tell them that you are coming into this to do, what would it be?
First and foremost, to lay down the structures and systems to devolve governance in the county. Without that, you are getting nowhere. For example, one of the things that some counties have not done is to establish village councils. If you look at the Constitution, the County Governments Act, the role of village council is extremely important, especially given the fact that under the 2010 Constitution, public participation is a cardinal aspect of governance. You're not going to know what the people prefer, what the people want. You're not going to get the people's input into integrated county development plan if you don't have a system through which they effectively participate. If you're preparing an integrated county development plan, and you only go to a market during market day and tell people, come, bring us your ideas. Some of the people you are talking to in a market day may not even be from Kisumu County. But if you have a village council, that's a structured system of participation and for accountability. And that is the foundation of devolution. Without it, devolution flies in the air. For example, now you have ward administrators, sub-county administrators. They have absolutely no structure for accountability. They've just hung around, and when there is a national day, then they bring chairs and water and so on to the county officials. That is probably the only function they perform.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you and Jack Ranguma friends?
Oh, yeah, we are friends. I mean, I campaigned for him. I was responsible for his becoming governor. I'm not quite sure whether we are very good friends now. I mean, let's be realistic.
Alex Owiti is asking, the Awasi-Katito road has not been tarmacked, yet it has economic value. Why?
I think that's a travesty. I will definitely tarmac it. There are several roads that have earmarked for tarmacking. And by the way, you know, people think that tarmacking is an extremely expensive affair. And there are now technologies. Because you have to say, what load is this road going to take per year? And engineers will tell you. And on the basis of that, you will determine exactly how much you are going to spend in terms of the thickness of the tarmac on the road. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can build various roads, all tarmacked, but with slightly different technologies to cut down on cost, but not to sacrifice longevity.
What are you planning to do with the hyacinth? Is there a solution?
There's a solution. I've always told people that when the hyacinth first appeared in the 90s, I was the head of programs at the African Academy of Sciences out there in Isipe. And Professor T.R. Odhiambo was the director. And we sat down and said, look, this thing in the lake, what are you going to do about it? So Professor Odhiambo financed a study of the lake. And he found that actually Lake Victoria was dying, the Gulf in particular was dying from the bottom as a result of affluence. Affluence was the cause of hyacinth on the lake, you see, because hyacinth survives on that affluence. So the first thing we needed to do was to lobby the government to stop the Nzoia sugar mills to offloading affluence into the lake, to stop Webuye paper mills in particular to offload affluence into the lake through the Nzoia River. Well, we didn't really succeed, but one thing we knew that we had to deal with the hyacinth. Now, Professor Odhiambo came up with being an insect entomologist with a beetle that could eat the hyacinth and stop it from growing. The beetle experiment went for some time, but unfortunately, the beetle was not aggressive enough to eat all the hyacinth in good time, and very soon you have the elephant grass, or the hippogriff, whatever you call it, the big grass, which it couldn't eat. Now, if you look at the hyacinth on the lake, it has now all kinds of opportunistic plants in there, you see. Now, what you do really is not rocket science, and we did it. Professor Larry Gumbe and myself did do a lot of research on this, and have a volume this thick of material. What needed to be done is just to harvest the hyacinth. Like you have seen a combined harvester harvesting wheat. The technology of harvesting hyacinth on the lake is no different from the technology of harvesting wheat on the field. You will have one boat with a big, like a combined harvester, cooping the hyacinth, putting it in and squeezing it. Then the water of the hyacinth goes into a certain chamber. That water must not be offloaded into the lake, but it contains tiny little seeds and tiny little parts of the hyacinth, which if you offload back into the lake, they will sink to the bottom. After about 4 years, they will come back at the hyacinth again. So that water must be taken out of the lake, taken to some quarry somewhere, emptied there. Now, if the hyacinth then grows into a quarry, you can harvest it commercially and use it for making baskets and furniture and so on. Now, once you harvest the hyacinth from the lake, the husks, you take the husk into a factory where it will be made into baskets, furniture, clothes, and so on. Thereby, you create employment. I understand that the British company is already, through the support of the British government, is already establishing something in Homa Bay for harvesting hyacinth and doing the same thing. Now, we didn't need to wait for a British company to come and do this because this is not rocket science.
Absolutely.
So this is what I'm intending to do. If indeed we can work with the British company to get all the hyacinth on the Nyanza Gulf, so much the better. But if we can also establish our own and have two processes going on at the same time and create more jobs in both in Kisumu and in Homa Bay, so much the better. But I must condemn in very strong terms the Lake Victoria Environmental Development Program, which have been supported by the UN for so many years, which has done nothing. I think those officials have just been being paid salaries, doing nothing for all these years. I think they're a shame to the lake.
Absolutely. Okay. Shuja Abraham Osei is saying, from Mashinani Shopping Center, Kolanya Akites Teso to Naskiza. And Michael Mongare says, ask Mweshimiwa where he went to high school. I need to take my son there.
I went to high school, the Alliance High School. You have to put the word the.
The Alliance.
The Alliance High School.
Oh my.
I went to the Alliance High School. I entered in 1962 and left in 1967.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
you did A-levels?
I did A-levels.
Yes. Did you play rugby?
No. I was too small to play.
Did you play football?
I did play football, yes.
Were you any good?
Yeah, I was in the third 11, and when we went
in the third 11.
One time I was promoted to be in the second 11. I went to play Mango and I scored.
Oh.
So at least I have a history of having scored in the second 11 against Mango.
You're listening to Professor Anyang Nyong'o. He's the NASA gubernatorial candidate in Kisumu County. We're going to go to the questions very soon. The phone calls, the number is 0722 20 88 20. This is the hottest breakfast show in town. Jeff and Chalas on Hot 96.